Hi, my name is Sahas, and I have crippling senioritis. In all seriousness, I'm a senior from Monte Vista High School, and this is my story. To start with the basics, I was born at El Camino Hospital on September 16, 2001. I was born to a family of 2 loving parents and an older sister. I was generally a happy kid, even though it doesn't look like it in the photos. My mom always said as a toddler I was a pain compared to my sister, but it was worth it. We ended up moving from Santa Clara to Cupertino in early 2006, and I hated it. All my preschool friends were gone as we went separate ways for kindergarten. I had to make new friends, but that wasn't much of a problem once I figured out how to talk to people who weren't already my friends. Elementary school was a much simpler time than now. If you were to ask me who or what I wanted to be back in elementary school, the answer would be pretty basic. It was an even split between a Jedi Master and a firefighter, and I meant it. I just thought they were so cool and I wanted to be just like them. Heck, I was a Jedi for Halloween 3 years in a row, mostly because my mom didn't want to buy another costume. Overall, I missed my life in elementary and middle school. My parents were more concerned with my older sister, and there was no stress, pressure, or need to study. Nobody took what I wanted to be seriously or pressured me to pick my life goals at a young age. I'd just play video games on Friday nights and play basketball after school with my friends for fun. I had the time, and I was able to spend it however I wanted to. My parents at this time, too, were pretty relaxed. They knew my grades didn't matter, and they were consequently laid back. They didn't care what I did as long as I didn't get into trouble or my grades didn't fall too far down, which wasn't a tall order for middle school. I started focusing on extracurriculars later in middle school, and I enjoyed them. Boy Scouts, for example, was a great way for me to see my friends outside of a school context, and I loved it. We would go on camping trips every couple of months, and those were the freest I would ever feel. I remember one time during a campfire, we were yelling Ooga Chaka so loud, the park ranger had to step in and stop us. However, instead of us quieting down, he actually joined our campfire in our chants. If you need some visualization, I crudely recreated the situation in MS Paint for another project. Ooga Chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka, ooga. It was also in middle school where I found my closest friends. Every year from 7th grade, we would make a haunted house just for fun. We would tie up rope to hang tarp walls using our Boy Scout skills. Our first couple of years were still garbage, to be honest, but they kept getting better. I was generally doing my own thing in middle school, and I had the best time doing it. Everything had changed in 9th grade, however. My sister had just left for college, and I had just entered high school. It was not only a change because of the new environment, but my parents also shifted their focus from my sister to me. My life suddenly became a struggle between what others wanted of me and what I wanted to do myself. All my free time was now dedicated to studying, and I felt like I was no longer in control. The freedoms of elementary and middle school were suddenly gone, and my parents were pushing me into things I had never done or wanted to do before. The worst part was, I accepted it and didn't do anything about it. I stopped playing video games with my friends on Fridays, and studied bio instead. I stopped playing basketball after school just so I could get home earlier and work on something else. That was not all. I was forced to try harder in things I hated. The violin, for example, just made me so mad when I couldn't get the notes right, which was often. But I had to force myself to do it every week. It was like the prospect of college was a looming impending doom, and it seemed like everybody in my life was trying to push me towards it. Even though there were good times, there was no way to ignore that I was trapped. There was a point where the only things keeping me going were family, friends, and Calc Savior. I was like a puppet, pulled by pressure and expectations. Without others' instructions, I'd be just a lump of limbs with no direction. I'd be eternally lost. I'd come to rely on other people's guidance and forgotten about my own freedoms. School became a chore, free time became rarer, and it felt like nothing was mine. I kept having questions. I wanted to be free, but why was I still stuck? Why couldn't I pull back on the strings? Why did I have to do things just because other people said so? It took me a while to realize the problem was me. I was being a pushover, and I had no courage to stand for what I wanted to do. I couldn't blame my parents for wanting the best for me. I couldn't complain about teachers asking things of me. I was the reason I was letting myself be controlled. I realized it a little late when it needed to be. I needed to find a balance between living on my own accord while still acknowledging others' expectations. I can't live like a recluse, and I also don't want to live under the expectations of others my whole life. I've been living by the strings of others throughout my whole high school experience, and in college I need to break this. Personally, I know this will be a hard thing for me to live by. If I'm left to my own devices, I could easily keep my head down forever. It's a natural thing for me to do. Going to college will be a completely new experience for me, and as high school changed my careless, free lifestyle, I hope that going to college can bring a similar change in me for the better. By joining organizations and clubs that fit my interests, for example, I can force myself to become the person I want to be.